I will recount the circumstances surrounding this event. I wanted to get to know my mother-in-law, Linda. I can see where that led. Somehow, my wife, Emma, became aware of my infatuation with her. One holiday, we gathered around the table together. Linda was sitting next to me, and I found myself watching her intently. Emma quickly took notice of what was happening. "What are you doing?" she asked. I shrugged, but she noticed my deep interest. More often than not, it was the other way around. Linda paid no attention to me. Didn't set me apart from the other guests. That offended me. She could have winked. Emma was thinking. Increasingly, I noticed that she seemed to be deciding something. I was curious to see how it would end, and I waited. One day, Emma took me by the elbow, looked into my eyes, and said, "I see you like my mom. Well, you can hit on her." I was stunned. "Won't it hurt you?" I asked, not believing my ears. Emma was silent for a moment before answering. "It won't." "Don't worry." "But why?" I asked, in amazement. "Remember, I cheated on you once, and I honestly admitted it." "Back there, at the resort?" said Emma. I nodded. Indeed, there had been such a moment in our lives. I forgave her. Then I felt bad about it myself. I decided not to destroy my family over such nonsense. And I decided, Emma continued, that I should do you the honor of having us reconcile. I was surprised. I exclaimed, "What?" I forgot about it for a while, but then I remembered. I started looking at Linda again. She really was a good-looking woman. Just my type. Front and back, all juicy, full of life. To me, that's the most important thing about a woman. I don't look at other parts of the body. To be honest, I don't really care about looks either, as long as there's something to hold on to. Linda had a beautiful face too. Lips, nose, blue eyes, just beautiful. No worse than anyone else's. I remembered that Emma had given me permission to approach her. I began to think of ways to get closer to Linda, twisting the situation this way and that. We rarely saw Linda. She was busy, and I wasn't a slacker myself. But one day, fate intervened. We ran into each other at the store. Linda had a lot of groceries. Her bag was full, and I, like a gentleman, offered my help. "Let me carry the bag for you," I said. Linda agreed with a smile. "Okay, help me." I took the heavy bag, and we headed towards her house. On the way, my mind was spinning with thoughts of leaving her alone. We got to her house and went up to the 5th floor. Linda offered me tea as a thank you for my help, but I had other things on my mind, a thank you that I wouldn't refuse. But Linda had ideas of her own. She led me into the kitchen. "How about a beer?" she asked. "I'd love one," I replied. The beer was delicious. We drank and laughed and talked. Linda wore pants at home, and I couldn't take my eyes off her slender figure. I wanted to reach out and touch her, but I held back. Linda noticed my attention and said, "Why are you looking at me like that?" "I don't know what to do under your gaze." I answered her, "There's a beautiful woman in front of me, and I'm afraid I won't be able to resist." At these words, I reached out and gently tucked her hair behind her ear. She flinched at my touch, visibly nervous. I slowly stroked her thigh, and Linda blushed. She began to mumble that she couldn't face me like this because of her daughter. I reassured her. Don't worry, I said. Emma gave me the green light. Linda was shocked. Her eyes widened in disbelief. I assured her there would be no problem. She thought for a moment, and in that time, I managed to undo a couple buttons of her blouse. So be it, Linda finally said, and I couldn't help but admire her. I had completely forgotten about the compote as we decided to take our time. Linda loved to tease by making me labor. She laughed like a schoolgirl, even though she was well into her 50s. I had dated women her age before and knew they had experience that might surprise me. We slowly brought things to a close, savoring every moment. Linda was loving it. Her skin was smooth and soft, a testament to how she took care of herself. Emma had once mentioned that her mother spent a lot of money on body creams, and I could see why. I also liked her hair straight and silky, just right. That afternoon, I stayed at Linda's house. She didn't want me to leave, and I didn't mind. Snuggling with her under the blanket was very pleasant. She was shy at first, but eventually she let go of me and began to enjoy herself. When I got home, I looked at Emma, feeling a strange sense of gratitude. I hadn't told her anything, of course. There was no need for her to know the details, although I had hinted that I had. She nodded, understanding, and there was no resentment on her face. A few days later, I visited Linda again. This time, she greeted me calmly, without her previous nervousness. We sat down together. She poured me some cherry compote, and we talked for a while, holding hands. Linda lit some scented candles. She liked to create a romantic atmosphere. We played with buttons again, and I enjoyed every second of it. After 3 hours of playful fun, we parted with wide smiles. I didn't even feel like going home, but duty was calling. As I left, Linda kissed me goodbye, and I looked forward to our next meeting.